The sky over Irinder's colony was burning with red and orange light. The humans scattered like frightened birds as the alien war machine tore through the outskirts. It was massive, taller than any building, its body a mix of dark metal and glowing circuits. Every movement was precise, every attack deadly. People screamed and ran, clutching what few belongings they could carry, while the ground shook beneath its heavy steps. Captain Alara sprinted along the narrow streets, her breath coming in short, sharp bursts. Her heart pounded in her chest, but her mind stayed sharp. She had trained for emergencies, but nothing could have prepared her for this. The war machine was unlike any enemy she had ever faced. Its eyes glowed a fierce blue, scanning, calculating, always one step ahead. Buildings crumbled as its energy cannon fired, leaving smoke and flames in its wake. "Ilara!" shouted Sergeant Kiro, running up beside her. His uniform was scorched and his face streaked with soot. "We can't hold them off. They're everywhere." Ilara didn't answer. She pointed toward the colony's central square. "Get the civilians there. We have to move them to the shelters before it reaches the main settlement." Kiro nodded and ran off, shouting orders. Ilara stayed for a moment, watching the war machine move with terrifying intelligence. It didn't just destroy buildings. It hunted humans, tracking them as if it could feel their fear. Every detour the humans tried, every hiding place seemed useless. The war machine adapted. It analyzed patterns and predicted movement, cornering them with terrifying efficiency. In the chaos, a small group of children stumbled across the street, holding hands and crying. Ilara darted toward them. "Come on. This way. Follow me," she yelled, scooping up the youngest child. They ran through alleys, dodging falling debris, until they reached the relative safety of a storage building. She held her breath, praying the war machine wouldn't notice them. From above, a loud whirring sound filled the air. Drones, smaller but just as deadly, flew out from the war machine's body. They darted through the streets, scanning with red beams that lit up anything in their path. Ilara led the children behind stacks of crates, hoping the drones would pass. One drone hovered too close, its sensors scanning their hiding spot. The children huddled together, eyes wide, as Ilara held up her hand, signaling them to stay still. A sudden blast shook the crates and dust filled the air. One of the children whimpered, and Ilara grabbed her tightly. "Shh, don't make a sound." She peeked through the smoke and saw the drone move on, moving toward another part of the street. Even as she breathed a small sigh of relief, her mind raced. They couldn't stay here long. The war machine was learning too quickly. Every trick they tried, every escape route they used, it countered. It was smarter than any alien they had fought before. She needed a plan, and fast. She remembered the colony's emergency communication tower. If they could send a signal to the nearby human fleet, maybe reinforcements could arrive. But reaching it meant crossing the main street, the very path the war machine was controlling. It was almost impossible. "Ilara!" someone shouted. She turned to see Kiro running back, dragging two more civilians behind him. "We need to move now. It's heading this way." Ilara nodded. "Follow me. Stay close." Her voice was calm, but inside, her heart raced. She led the group through a series of narrow passages and backstreets, trying to avoid the main path. They moved quickly, the children stumbling but never stopping, driven by fear and the hope that they might survive. From the distance, a deep, mechanical roar echoed. The war machine had noticed movement. Its massive legs crushed the ground as it turned toward them. Energy pulses lit up the streets like lightning, and the humans froze for a split second. Ilara grabbed their hands and pulled them forward. "Run. Don't stop." They reached the edge of the central square, where the main road opened up. The war machine's sensors locked on them instantly. It fired a beam of blue energy that sliced through a nearby wall, sending rubble flying. Ilara shielded the children with her own body, feeling the heat brush past her arms. Dust and smoke filled the air, and the roar of the machine was deafening. For a moment it seemed hopeless. The humans were trapped in the open, and the war machine was closing in fast. But then Ilara saw something strange. A shadow moved across the sky, larger than any human ship, with a glimmering shape that made the war machine pause, its sensors scanning upward. Ilara didn't know what it was, but she felt a spark of hope. For the first time since the attack began, she realized they might not be alone. Whatever it was, it could change everything. She tightened her grip on the children's hands, her heart pounding. "Hold on," she whispered. "Help is coming." And above the chaos, something ancient and powerful was watching, ready to intervene. The humans ran, but they didn't give up. Captain Ilara led them through narrow alleys and abandoned streets, using every trick she could think of. They set up small traps, using overturned vehicles, barrels, and old construction materials. They hoped to slow the alien war machine even for just a little while. Sergeant Kiro carried what remained of the colony's weapons. Most were outdated, designed for small skirmishes, not for a machine built to crush entire cities. Still, they loaded their rifles and EMP grenades, determined to fight. Every human knew they were outmatched, but they had no choice. Survival depended on their courage and cleverness. A group of young engineers joined Alara, carrying strange devices of their own design. "We can try to confuse it," one of them said, his voice shaking. "Maybe overloaded sensors." Alara nodded. "Do it. Anything to slow it down." She led the group to a narrow street, where they could make a stand. The war machine was advancing slowly but steadily. Its massive legs crushed cars and streetlights, sending sparks flying. Its glowing eyes scanned for any movement, always hunting. The engineers set up their devices, placing them in strategic spots along the road. They connected wires and pressed buttons. Small sparks lit up the devices and a low hum filled the air. When the war machine entered the street, the first device triggered. A bright flash blinded its sensors for a few seconds. The humans cheered quietly, but it wasn't enough. The machine adapted almost instantly. Its glowing eyes focused, and it began firing precise energy blasts, destroying the devices one by one. Smoke and dust filled the street, making it difficult for the humans to see. Alara shouted over the chaos. "Keep moving. Don't stop." The civilians ran behind her, holding hands, their faces pale but determined. Even in fear, they showed a strength the war machine couldn't understand. It had no patience for humans, no respect for their courage. It only calculated how to destroy them. Amid the fight, a young engineer named Jaren spotted a weakness. "Captain, its joints, the arms, they're exposed when it moves," he yelled. He grabbed an old rifle and fired, hitting a joint. Sparks flew and the machine staggered slightly. It roared, a sound that shook the buildings. Alara smiled briefly. "Good. Keep it up. Target the joints." The humans worked together, firing whatever they could, throwing makeshift explosives, and using the narrow streets to their advantage. They slowed the machine, but it was not defeated. Every success came at a cost. Several civilians were injured, and the humans realized they couldn't win with weapons alone. In the middle of the chaos, a small group of children got separated. Alara's heart sank. "Kiro, go help them," she ordered. Kiro ran, dodging energy blasts, scooping up two children who had been hiding behind a collapsed wall. "We won't leave anyone behind," he shouted, eyes fierce with determination. The war machine paused for a moment as if studying the humans. It had never faced such resistance. They were fragile, small, and weak, yet they kept coming. Each time it destroyed a trap, more humans appeared with new ideas. Each time it tried to corner them, they found another way to escape. Alara realized something important. The machine was powerful, but it couldn't understand human determination. It relied on logic, on patterns, on calculations. Humans were unpredictable. They didn't fight the way machines expected. That unpredictability might be their only chance. The humans regrouped behind a row of destroyed buildings. They were tired, dirty, and scared, but their spirits were not broken. Alara looked at the faces around her. They were frightened, yes, but alive. That meant something. It meant they could fight another day. A loud, deep sound echoed across the city. The humans froze. The war machine's sensors had locked on something above them. They looked up and saw a shadow moving across the sky, a shadow bigger than any human ship, bigger than any machine. The humans gasped, feeling a mix of fear and hope. Alara's heart skipped a beat. "Whatever that is, it might help us," she whispered. She didn't know what it was, but she felt hope for the first time since the attack began. The war machine stopped moving, turning its glowing eyes toward the shadow. It was silent for a moment, as if unsure. Humans whispered to each other, holding their weapons tightly but standing taller than before. They had survived the first attack, and now something else had appeared. Something ancient, something powerful. Alara looked at her team. "We've done what we can. Now we wait and we fight smart. Stay ready." Her voice was steady, strong, carrying the weight of hope. The humans watched, hearts pounding, as the shadow descended. Whatever it was coming toward them. And for the first time they realized that the battle might not be over yet, but they had a chance to survive. The war machine let out a roar, but it no longer seemed as confident. Something new had entered the fight. Something the humans couldn't understand, something old and powerful. And in that moment, hope shone brighter than fear. Alara gripped her rifle tightly. Whatever comes next, we stand together. We fight. We survive. Above them, the shadow moved closer, glimmering in the sunlight. And the humans knew that the impossible might just be possible. The humans froze as the shadow grew larger in the sky. It moved with a slow, deliberate grace, its enormous wings stretching wide and casting darkness over the burning city below. The war machine hesitated, its glowing eyes flicking upward, scanning the newcomer with mechanical calculation. It had never seen anything like this. Captain Alara squinted against the sunlight, her heart pounding. The shadow was enormous, far larger than any human or alien ship she had ever seen. And then she saw it, a dragon. But not like the small, myth-like creatures humans sometimes dreamed about. This dragon was ancient, its scales shimmering like liquid gold and silver, catching the sunlight in dazzling patterns. Its eyes glowed with a deep, wise light, and steam rose from its nostrils as it hovered above the city. The humans whispered among themselves. Is that real?" one soldier muttered. A child clutched Alara's hand tightly, eyes wide in awe. Alara didn't answer. She couldn't. The dragon's presence was overwhelming, commanding. Even the war machine, relentless and merciless, seemed to pause, uncertain how to react. Its weapons lowered slightly, as though the dragon's mere presence was a threat it could not calculate. The dragon landed in the center of the square, the ground shaking beneath its massive weight. Buildings nearby trembled, dust and debris falling around it. The humans took cover but didn't run this time. They watched in stunned silence. The dragon's wings folded slowly against its body, and it looked at the war machine, assessing, calm but powerful. It opened its mouth, not to roar, but to release a low, resonating hum that vibrated through the streets. The sound seemed to penetrate the war machine's systems. Sparks flew along its body, and the humans realized the dragon was not just strong, it could control energy in ways they could barely understand. Sergeant Kiro whispered to Alara, What is it doing?" Alara shook her head. "I don't know, but it's stopping it." She pointed at the war machine. Its movements slowed, its attacks faltering. The alien machine fired a beam, but the dragon's shimmering scales reflected the energy harmlessly into the sky. The dragon stepped forward, massive claws leaving deep marks in the stone, yet it didn't attack recklessly. Instead, it studied the war machine, circling it, wings brushing against the smoke-filled air. Every move was careful, deliberate. The humans realized it was analyzing, learning just as the machine did, but in a way far beyond anything human or alien could comprehend. Alara took a deep breath. "Stay back," she said to the civilians. "Whatever this is, it's going to fight for us." The war machine recalculated, spinning on its legs. Its glowing blue eyes focused on the dragon. It fired another blast, but the dragon lifted one massive wing, and the beam shattered against the shimmering membrane, scattering harmless sparks across the ground. The humans gasped. "Unbelievable," muttered Jaren, the young engineer. It's like magic." The dragon's gaze swept across the humans. For a brief moment, Alara felt as if it could see inside her mind, reading her fear and hope. She straightened, gripping her rifle. The dragon nodded slightly, almost imperceptibly, and Alara felt a surge of courage. Then it moved. Slowly, methodically, it extended one claw toward the war machine, touching its metallic body. Sparks flew as energy from the dragon coursed into the machine. The humans watched, mouths open, as the alien machine staggered, systems failing under a force it could not understand. The war machine roared, a mechanical sound that shook the air, but the dragon did not flinch. It circled the machine again, striking with precision, targeting weak points humans could never reach. Its power was immense but controlled. The humans realized the dragon wasn't just attacking, it was teaching them, showing them that strength paired with intelligence could overcome even the deadliest enemy. Alara felt her fear begin to fade. The children around her looked up at the dragon with wide eyes, hope replacing panic. We might survive this," she whispered. The dragon's eyes met the humans for a long moment. It was ancient, wise, and patient. They could feel its strength radiating like a shield around them. Even as the war machine tried to fight back, the humans could see the tide turning. The alien hunter that had terrorized their colony now hesitated, uncertain, struggling against a force far beyond its calculations. Alara took a deep breath. This is our chance," she said. "Stay close, stay smart, and watch. We learn from it." The dragon let out a low, rumbling hum again, and the humans felt it in their chests, a vibration that seemed to fill them with courage and determination. They understood, in that moment, that the dragon was not just a savior, it was a guide, a protector, and perhaps the beginning of something greater for humanity. The war machine staggered again, sparks flying, systems failing. Its eyes flickered as if it could finally sense the impossible, that humans, small and fragile, were not alone, that they had allies beyond understanding, that they might survive. Above the city, the dragon spread its wings, the sunlight glinting off its scales. It was beautiful, terrifying, and unstoppable. The humans watched, hearts pounding, hope rising like a tide. Ilara whispered to herself, "Whatever comes next, we're not alone anymore." And above the smoke and fire, the dragon elder waited, ready to strike, ready to teach, ready to change everything. The humans watched in awe as the dragon elder circled the alien war machine, its massive wings cutting through the smoky air with power and precision. Captain Ilara gripped her rifle tightly, her knuckles white, but inside she felt a spark of hope. For the first time since the attack began, survival didn't feel impossible. The war machine roared, a deep, mechanical sound that shook the ground. Sparks flew from its energy cannons as it tried to fire at the dragon. But every blast was reflected, deflected, or absorbed by the shimmering scales of the elder. It moved with intelligence, not just strength, each motion calculated to disable the machine without wasting energy. Ilara turned to Kiro and the other soldiers. "Watch how it fights. Learn from it. It's not just attacking, it's teaching us." The soldiers nodded, tense but alert. Even the youngest engineers and civilians felt a strange courage rising in their chests. The dragon elder touched the war machine with one claw, sending a surge of energy into its circuits. Sparks and flames erupted along the alien body. The machine staggered, thrashing wildly, but it adapted quickly, trying to counter the elder's attack. Yet the dragon had already anticipated this. It shifted, avoiding the counterattacks with ease, striking again at weak points humans could barely see. Ilara realized something important. The dragon was not just a weapon. It was a strategist. It understood the machine's logic and exploited its flaws. The humans could do the same. They could use their minds, their creativity to fight alongside it. "Captain," Jaren said, pointing at the war machine's leg joints, "look. It keeps exposing the same parts when it moves. If we hit those spots..." His voice trailed off as he grabbed a makeshift explosive. Ilara nodded. "Good. Do it. Everyone else follow my lead. We hit the same points it can't defend. Work with the dragon, not against it." The humans moved carefully, dodging debris and sparks, setting up their charges, and taking shots where the elder's attacks created openings. The dragon roared, and the sound vibrated through the city as if signaling them to strike. Their small explosions and energy blasts struck the war machine's joints and exposed circuits. Smoke and sparks filled the air, but the machine faltered. For a moment, it seemed the war machine might retreat. But then it released a pulse of energy, knocking several humans off their feet. Ilara gritted her teeth, shielding the children nearby. "Keep going. Don't stop." The dragon elder turned its glowing eyes toward the humans. For a heartbeat, Ilara thought it might strike at them. But instead, it lowered its head slightly, almost like a nod of respect. Then it spread its wings and swooped low, striking the war machine's core with a controlled blast of energy. The machine shuddered, systems failing, sparks flying everywhere. The humans cheered quietly, but they didn't stop. They kept moving, striking at openings the dragon created. Every time they attacked, the elder adjusted, creating new chances. The alien war machine, once unstoppable, now seemed confused, unsure of how to fight. Ilara felt a surge of pride and relief. The humans, small and fragile, were making a difference. Their ingenuity, courage, and quick thinking were now part of the battle. They weren't alone. The dragon elder and humans were fighting together, an unlikely alliance that no machine could calculate. A deep roar shook the city again, and the war machine collapsed partially, sparks flying from its damaged circuits. The dragon landed nearby, wings folded, watching carefully. Its eyes glowed with ancient intelligence, as if judging the humans, testing their resolve. Ilara took a deep breath, wiping sweat from her brow. "We're learning from it," she whispered. "We can do this. We can survive." Kiro helped a group of civilians up. "It's incredible," he said. "It's teaching us how to fight, how to survive, without even touching us." The dragon elder extended one claw, sending another pulse into the war machine. It roared again, staggering back. The humans pressed forward, striking at its exposed points. The combined effort, human courage and ingenuity, dragon wisdom and power, was too much. The war machine faltered completely, circuits shorting, energy flickering. Ilara realized something: humans had never been alone in the galaxy. Even when technology seemed overwhelming, they had allies beyond imagining. They just had to survive long enough to find them. The children watched wide-eyed as the dragon let out a low hum, vibrating through the city. It was not anger but a signal of victory, a rhythm that made the humans' hearts pound with courage. Ilara whispered almost to herself, This is the future. Together we can face anything. The war machine gave one last shudder and fell motionless, its glowing eyes dimming. The humans cheered, running toward the Dragon Elder, who remained calm, its gaze sweeping over the city like a silent guardian. For the first time in days the humans could breathe. They had survived. Not alone but together with a power they had never imagined. And in that moment they knew the galaxy was vast, dangerous and full of mysteries, but humans, clever and brave, had allies. Ilara looked at her team. We've done it, she said softly. We fought smart and we survived. And something tells me, this is only the beginning. Above the smoke and ruins, the Dragon Elder spread its wings, preparing to soar. Its eyes met Ilara's one last time, a silent promise that they would watch over humanity, and that this alliance, human and dragon, could change everything. The humans, small but courageous, stood together in awe, realizing that sometimes strength came not just from power, but from unity, courage, and intelligence. The impossible had become possible and hope, once lost, had returned. The city was quiet now, except for the distant crackle of fires and the soft hum of the Dragon Elder's presence. The alien war machine lay motionless, its systems fried and smoking, a ruin of metal and wires. The humans gathered cautiously, stepping over rubble and debris, their faces streaked with dirt, sweat, and tears, but also relief. They had survived. Captain Ilara looked around at her team. The civilians were tired, but their eyes shone with hope. Soldiers helped the injured, while children clung to their parents, slowly realizing that the nightmare was over. Even in the wreckage there was a strange sense of pride. They had fought, they had survived, and they had learned that no matter how powerful the enemy, humans were never truly powerless. The Dragon Elder stood in the center of the square, its massive wings folded, scales glimmering in the sunlight that filtered through the smoke. It had been silent for a while, but now it turned its glowing eyes toward the humans. They froze, unsure what to expect. The dragon's gaze was not threatening. It was calm, wise, and full of understanding, as if it could see every choice they had made and every risk they had taken. Ilara stepped forward cautiously. We thank you, she said. Her voice shook slightly, but it carried sincerity. We wouldn't have survived without you. The Dragon Elder lowered its head slightly, almost like a bow, acknowledging her words. A low hum vibrated through the air, warm and steady, as if communicating directly to their hearts. The humans felt a calm settle over them, a sense of safety that had been absent for so long. Sergeant Kiro approached, still keeping watch. Captain, he said softly, do you think it will leave? Or stay? Ilara shook her head. I don't know. But maybe it doesn't matter. It's here now and it's helping us. That's enough for today. She glanced around at the ruins of the colony. Buildings were damaged, some destroyed entirely, but the people were alive. That was what mattered most. The Dragon Elder's eyes shifted to the war machine's remains. Sparks still flickered from its circuits, but the dragon did not move aggressively. Instead, it extended one claw and touched the metal gently. The sparks died instantly. The humans gasped. They realized the Elder was not just powerful, it was intelligent. It could control energy, repair or neutralize it, and understand machines in ways humans could not. Ilara's mind raced. If the Dragon Elder could control machines, it could protect humanity in ways they had never imagined. She imagined what it might mean for other colonies, other planets, even for humans who had never known dragons existed. The galaxy was vast, dangerous, and unpredictable, but maybe humans had allies they couldn't even dream of. The children began to laugh quietly, breaking the tension. One of them ran to the Dragon Elder, holding up a small, charred toy. The dragon lowered its head, examining it gently before nudging it back toward the child with a careful movement of its snout. The humans smiled, realizing that even this ancient, powerful creature had a gentle side. Ilara felt hope bloom in her chest. They had faced something impossible and survived. They had learned that courage, cleverness, and unity could overcome even the most terrifying force. The Dragon Elder had arrived when all seemed lost, but it had also shown them a truth. Humans were never truly helpless, especially when they fought with heart and mind together. As the sun began to rise over the horizon, its light reflecting off the dragon's scales, Ilara looked at her team. We rebuild, she said softly. Not just the city, but ourselves. We know now what we're capable of. We will be stronger, smarter, and braver. The Dragon Elder spread its wings slowly, lifting off the ground. Its massive form rose into the sky, yet it did not leave entirely. It circled above the colony, a silent guardian as if watching over them. The humans looked up in awe, hearts swelling with gratitude and wonder. They had survived the hunt. They had witnessed something extraordinary. And they had learned that hope could appear even in the darkest moments. Elara smiled faintly. "We are not alone," she whispered. "And now, we have the chance to prove it." The civilians began to clean up, helping each other. Soldiers organized defenses, making the city safer. Engineers examined the damaged infrastructure, already planning ways to rebuild faster and smarter. Children played carefully among the ruins, their laughter light and free, a sound that seemed impossible just hours ago. Above them, the Dragon Elder hovered, its eyes scanning the horizon. Somewhere beyond the city, more threats surely waited, but the humans no longer felt powerless. They had faced terror, survived, and gained a guardian they could never have imagined. They were ready for whatever came next. Elara watched the dragon for a long moment. Its wings glinted like molten metal in the rising sun. Then she turned back to her people. "We survived the hunt," she said, her voice firm, carrying over the ruins. "We fought. We learned. And we will thrive. Together." And in that moment, the humans of Erinder knew a simple truth. Courage, ingenuity, and heart could make even the smallest beings unstoppable. And somewhere in the skies above, the Dragon Elder promised that humanity was no longer alone in the galaxy. The sun rose higher, casting long shadows across the city, turning smoke and ruins into golden light. A new dawn had come, not just for Erinder but for humanity itself.